I'm really hopeful that this first playoff will illuminate that for the people that matter. I doubt it will, but I think it will illuminate that fact. I do like that the country is starting to turn on ESPN and is starting to turn on the overhyped SEC, because this is proof. Look, they got 3 teams in. Everybody thought Alabama should be in too. Well, look, man, Alabama, they lost to Michigan. They get 1 touchdown?
They're terrible. I mean,
and not only that, the Michigan team that was sitting their 4 best defensive players. So don't sit here and tell us how unbelievably talented this team is, and they would have rolled Notre Dame, or it would have been a much better game than what Indiana. Come on, man. You don't know that. They're hypotheticals. And that's the point that's been made on Twitter a lot in these last couple of weeks, is the SEC is always undefeated in hypotheticals. They're always they'd crush Indiana. Oh, they'd be favored by 12 points against Indiana. Or 16 points. Indiana wouldn't have a chance against Georgia. Indiana wouldn't have a chance against the team. Or SMU and blah, blah, blah. Arizona State can't compete with Texas. Man, Arizona State was a 4th and 13 away from winning that game. And they were without their best receiver.
Yep.
And they were without one of their best defenders for the first half because he was sitting out for a targeting call.
And he made an impact when he came back in the game.
Right. But so I just hope people understand there is not that much difference between the haves and the have-nots. The haves and have never done anything. The parity has never been closer, and that's what gives me hope about Florida State. That you can see how close these teams are. I don't think it's too much to ask that Florida State can be as good as 2024 Arizona State. That's not asking too much. They're spending a lot of money. They got good coaches. It's possible, but let's look at what the SEC did in the playoffs. They got housed by Ohio State. Tennessee lost to Ohio State worse than Indiana did.
Yes.
Georgia lost to Notre Dame worse than Indiana did. On a neutral site, by the way, they didn't have to go to South Bend. I know they had a backup quarterback. They still lost worse than Indiana did. Indiana scored more points than Georgia did. So I just think, and I thought Georgia got some really nice calls there in the fourth quarter. And they still lost. It still wasn't all that competitive. They scored 10 points. I shouldn't say it wasn't competitive. It was a fine game. It was a close game. Whatever. It was close enough that we watched. But I just think that you're looking that Texas barely beat Arizona State in double overtime, and the other 2 SEC teams lost. And the team that everybody thought should have been in, they lost to a Michigan team that can't complete a forward pass and had their 4 best defensive players sitting out. And
they lost a quarterback to Michigan.
Right, and then South Carolina, they lost to Illinois.
Yeah.
So shut up. Just shut up. You are the best conference. I think by and large over the last 10 or 15 years it has been proven that the SEC is the best conference. But it is not so astronomically better than every other conference or teams from these other conferences that it's a joke that the 5th place SEC team doesn't get to play for the national championship. You didn't deserve it. Sorry. Would Indiana have gone 11-1 in the SEC? No, they wouldn't have. But they don't play in the SEC. And I just feel like Indiana was a deserving football team. And trying to figure out the best is just buffoonery. Yeah. Because what does that even mean? And who decides it? Because they don't quite get it right. Because the 4 teams that got the first round byes all lost.